Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
In just a couple of seconds, we're going to go to the phones for your calls. Coming up this hour, Glynis McCants. What does she do? She's a numerologist. And what is she going? Why is she on Animal Radio? Why are we having her on Animal Radio, Judy?
Because she's going to tell us what we name our pets can influence how they act.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not quite sure how the numerology thing fits in there.
I don't know, but the name makes a big impact on your pet. And we could be naming our pets by the wrong name.
You mean if we give our animals the wrong name, that could screw them up for life?
It could.
Hey, Hal screwed me up for life.
Yeah.
I can understand. Okay, so
Hal 9000 is what I always think of.
That's so much cooler than Hal. Let's see. What else do we have coming up? Oh, if you have an animal, in particular a cat that pees outside the box or poops outside the box, Dusty Rainbolt will be back with us next hour, and she's going to be talking about the problems that cats have, why they go outside the box. Whether it's behavior or whether it's physical, how to curtail the problems, how to really figure out the problems, because it can be a total mystery.
And it's not because they're mad at you. Can we just say that?
Are you sure?
I'm
no
positive.
cases where they...
Being mad is not one of the things. Now, marking their territory or showing ownership over an item is different, but that's not mad. Mad is a human emotion there.
Okay.
That's an anthropomorphism, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most cat owners deal with this at one time or the other, and most cat owners, like me, think that they were mad at me or something. But
I went away, and my cat,
he's showing me how he feels about
he's
going
angry.
away, but that's not the case. Okay, that's on the way in just a few minutes. Let's go to the phones right now for your calls for Dr. Debbie or for Joey Villani from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and BlackBerry. So download that puppy now if you haven't done it. And we go to Les calling from North Carolina. Hi, Les. How are you?
Okay. How are you today?
Doing okay. You don't sound too happy. What's up? How can we help you?
Well, I got a little child of mine, I call him. I've been with him for 12 years now, and he's got cataracts, and he can't even see, to put a piece of food, a scrap in front of him to eat. You have to drop it on the floor, and he has to sniff around for it. And and my concern is there any help out there that could, let this dog see out of one eye at least, because the expenses, it's out of reach, and the dog has got a lot of life left in him, and, it's a sad situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Is everything else with your dog going okay, or is it just the blindness?
Well, he's got diabetes. He gets 2 insulin shots a day, which he doesn't like too much. But, And then he's got arthritis. We give him something for his arthritis. But, I mean, other than that, he's frisky. He'll run. He's a little tired at times, but he wants to stay involved. But he's my baby, and I just so sad to look at him this way. And it's I've been told by the vets, it's expensive it's so expensive to do it. And
so
I calling you for if there's an alternative out there to get them some kind of surgery,
Yeah. And I'd say, when we're talking about cataract surgery for dogs, there's always a kind of but. So we do need to make sure the pet is in good health status. Because if we're talking about cataract removal, that does require general anesthesia. So you've mentioned your pet is diabetic. So that is something that, we want to make sure that, we're well regulated and all other problems that are associated with diabetes are controlled to the best of our ability. Things like infections, like bladder infections, pancreatitis, things like that. So, and what I usually do recommend, even if you're not prepared to move forward with a surgery, is to set up a consultation, to start with that with an ophthalmologist, because that's really first and foremost. And I've had a lot of people that think, oh, my dog has cataracts, we need to do surgery, and then they find out he's not even a candidate. So I think that for me would be my first advice for you, is really invest in a consultation with a veterinary ophthalmologist, have an evaluation, see if surgery is recommended, and then we can get an idea cost-wise. Generally, depending on where you live in the country, you're talking, thousands of dollars for cataract removal.
It's like $3,000 an eye. That's what and my vet told us,
Yeah. So, and that's, normally with dogs, we'll do one eye at a time because we don't want to, disrupt both eyes.
Right.
So that's the first thing is I would make sure you do set up a visit with an ophthalmologist. Now, the next question is how do we pay for something, especially of that magnitude, when we're just not able to bite that off? So there are, depending on the region in the country, there are organizations. You do have to do a little bit of hunting because a lot of the financial assistance groups are actually localized. So it may not be something that they service the whole part of the country. And I know I have worked with some different organizations over the year, and the folks had to, show financial need, and they had to actually fundraise a little bit on their own and show that they were, motivated, that this was something important to them. And they did have some requirements to that, and that there had to be like a finite bill, so that it was something that we knew the beginning and the end of, and they could arrange the financing along that. So I think the organization we worked with was called Red Rover, but I can tell you one of the best resources that I use is I usually, state by state, it does differ. So I tell folks to go to the Humane Society website, humanesociety.org, and you can look up and you basically look up how to pay for vet care. And they should have a whole state by state layout of some of the different organizations within your area. And then from there, then I would contact those and really see if, they can help you out with your needs and pursuing that.
Even going to another state, if need be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, on the other side of the coin, I will tell you, some pets with cataracts that are blind can live wonderful lives. So they can adapt very well to the lack of vision. And it just means that we have to make some accommodations around the home. So not changing things, sometimes giving them special structure like area rugs to kind of help them figure out where they are in areas. You can use different scents to kind of mark areas of the home. So like say, the back door, you take a little lavender oil and you put it on the floor mat that's by the back door. And then they come to associate that location with, hey, this is where I go when I want to go outside. And, vice versa. You can do that with other types of scents around the home. So I have a lot of clients with blind pets and they can do just wonderful, if we keep things consistent and just be patient with them and expect that they're going to have, certain shortcomings when it comes to getting around.
Like I leave we live on, like in old cornfields, right? All flat land and it's all grass. And I put the floodlight on so he could find his way back to stairs at night. He just looks around and he walks. When he wants to go outside at night. But,
yeah.
And then I made stairs for him to get up on the bed to conform with the same looking stairs that come up on the porch, and he wouldn't go up on them except if there was tall sides on them. I put the tall sides on him, and he walks right up on the bed. And, I accommodate him in any way that I can.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you're a very caring pet parent, and you only want the best for him. So I hope that leads you to some resources. And I don't know, Hal, Judy, you guys have had some experience with directing people in this way as well, haven't you?
We know that Actors and Others for Animals, they have an emergency pet fund for people that are looking for veterinary medical care. And you can head over to their website at Actors and Others for Animals.
What is it?
Actors and Others for Animals.
Actors,
ACTORS, Actors and Others for Animals. And they have an application to fill out over there, and they will help certain causes. But like Dr. Debbie said, the Humane Society of the United States also has resources for that. Both of those, I would check both of those out and see if you can get any help through any of these organizations.
Well, thank you to both of you. You've been very helpful, and I always listen to your show, and I always enjoy it.
We
get a lot of good ideas, Yeah.
We thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it. And thanks for calling in. We love to hear from our listeners. Les calling in, listening on WFNC in, what is that?
North Carolina.
Where in North Carolina? Oh, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Love that city. Beautiful city to vacation in. Well, I'm delighted to tell you this portion of Animal Radio is brought to you by Red Barn. Now listen up, in just a couple of seconds, I'm going to give you a promo code to save 10% off your next purchase. In fact, all of your purchases over at Red Barn. Now these guys not only support Animal Radio and get behind the health of your pet, they're now in the kibble business. Yeah, your favorite dog treat company is now selling kibble. And I'm looking at the side of the package with the ingredients. The first 5 ingredients feature real animal protein. That's how you know it's good. It's going to satisfy your dog's carnivore cravings. That's because your dog, well, they love meat. And these guys, Red Barn, they love your dog. Now get ready to save 10% anytime you go over to their website. Just use the promo code Animal Radio. That's all one word, Animal Radio. And you'll get 10% off your purchase. So I encourage you to go on over there. Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, loves their treats, especially their chewables, dental bones. She'll play with them for about a half hour or so before she eats it. They make a great chew bone, and they're just one of the great products that Red Barn makes. And you can get 10% off anything Red Barn has over at their website at redbarn.com. Just put in the promo code Animal Radio. Once again, head on over to redbarn.com. and put in Animal Radio, and you'll get 10% off your purchase. And thanks, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
You love your dog. Is something bothering him or her and you can't figure out what it is? Maybe they seem slow or lethargic. And maybe they just don't have energy. Wouldn't you like your dog to be living their very best life? PetJoy offers a money-back guarantee on all of its products. If your dog won't eat it or you don't see the results you want, just let us know and we'll make it right. Totally risk-free. What do you have to lose? You can't buy PetJoy multivitamins in a store. The only way you can get them is through this unique radio offer. And if you call right now, learn how to get 2 bottles free with your order. Turn your dog's life around and make him or her a happy camper. Ain't that right, boy? He said call PetJoy right now. 800-451-1359. 800-451-1359. 800-451-1359. That's 800-451-1359.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall on Animal Radio. And I'd just like everybody to realize that each day you live, you make some difference on the planet, and you can choose what kind of difference you're going to make. And hopefully every day you'll try to make the world a little bit better for people, for animals, and for the environment.
Check out Animal Radio highlights, all the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
It's Animal Radio. This is where we celebrate the connection with our pets. And for you to check in or ask your questions for Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. And in just a few minutes, we're going to talk to Glynis McCants. What is her specialty? She's a numerologist. Why is that important for the animals? She says that the numbers can help you pick a name for your pet. And why is that so important? She says the name that you pick for your pet can influence the rest of their life, how they're trained.
Really?
Yes. So we're going to talk to her in just a couple of minutes. Also, if you're one of those people that have so much trouble with your cat peeing outside the litter box or pooping outside the litter box, a very common problem, we have Dusty Rainbolt coming on next hour, and she is a cat expert, pretty much. She knows everything cat, and she's written a brand new book called Cat Scene Investigator, How to Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. So you want to be sticking around for that.
Yeah, I need to talk to her.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lori, what are you working on for this hour?
Well, I've come across some dogs that are sniffing frozen human urine. And I will tell you why and what they're looking for.
And this is where you come in.
And I do believe we're going to go ahead and pick up Bill on the line.
Hello, Dr. Debbie. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing super. What can I do for you today?
Well, I was just wondering, how about humans taking medicine or supplements that are designed for animals?
How about it?
Well, I mean, would it be? What's your ideas on it? I guess that's what I want to know.
Okay, all right. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to speak to you very plainly here, Bill, because you sound like a nice guy. I think it's crazy. Are you taking your pet's medicines?
Probably is. But have you ever heard of Diamond V? That's a horse supplement, or cattle or animal supplement for farm animals.
In the large animal avenue, yeah. So I know they use it for feed efficiency, milk production, all that kind of stuff. So you're taking that?
For about 2 years now.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I can't advocate that.
A quarter teaspoon a day, and then not every day. I skip the weekends usually.
Okay.
But I haven't been sick in 2 years.
Wow. I guess this is a first for me. I'm almost speechless here, Bill.
My former wife works at a vet in Florida, and he's the one that told her about it, and he's got everybody in his veterinary practice on it. And
what's it supposed to do for horses, doctor?
Well, I know at least the cow formulas they use to improve the feed efficiency, so that when they're creating, animals to go to market, they have better muscle production. Cows that are producing milk, so that they become better milk producers. So
you're not noticing anything like that, Bill, are you?
Oh, I haven't produced any milk yet.
Okay. Wow.
The company or the factory where they manufacture this stuff, I've seen reports where these people that work in this factory and they just inhale this stuff, they haven't been sick in 25 years.
Holy cow.
The people that work in the office, they get sick regularly like anybody else. One of these guys who works there, his wife works in a hospital and his kid was in elementary school. They'd bring home all kinds of stuff from school and from the hospital. They would be sick. He never got sick.
Interesting. Well, I got to say, I'm a little perplexed on how this started happening because, generally there's species lines when it comes to nutritional recommendations and even supplements. So I have to caution you on that, but I guess I can't sneeze at anecdotal information of, people who have increased immune powers. But gosh, and I'm not a fan of inhaling supplements because things aren't always meant to go down in the lungs that you're meant to ingest. You could definitely have some problems there with different components getting down in the lungs. There's even a condition, silicosis, that some people get silica down in their lungs from inhaling it. So, and that's not a good thing. It can cause some long-term side effects. I don't know what to tell you. I'd say I don't recommend it, and I typically don't recommend any of my animal supplements for my human counterparts that bring their pet patients to me. But gosh, that's very interesting, Bill. And, maybe those people that are making this supplement need to research and put some mustard to the test there to see if it is appropriate for people. Because, if that's the case, then
it's a gold
you might
mine.
be onto something. Yeah.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Alan Cable, welcome to another mess. Let's start it off right with your beer news watch. Beer for dogs?
We plan on getting a Rottweiler.
Well, any vet will tell you dogs should never be given beer. Their livers don't metabolize alcohol the same way we do. And things like hops can hurt many dogs. It's sad that dogs up until this point couldn't enjoy beer, but a company called Wolf and Brew released a beer specifically for dogs. Are you ready to enjoy one with your dog?
I'm just in my boxers right now.
This stuff has no alcohol or hops or carbonation. It's easy and safe for dogs to digest. So now you can share a beer with your best buddy.
This is
Animal Radio, baby.
Hey, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
You love your dog. Is something bothering him or her and you can't figure out what it is? Maybe they seem slow or lethargic, and maybe they just don't have energy. Wouldn't you like your dog to be living their very best life? PetJoy offers a money-back guarantee on all of its products. If your dog won't eat it or you don't see the results you want, just let us know and we'll make it right. Totally risk-free. What do you have to lose? You can't buy PetJoy multivitamins in a store. The only way you can get them is through this unique radio offer. And if you call right now, learn how to get 2 bottles free with your order. Turn your dog's life around and make him or her a happy camper. Ain't that right, boy? He said call PetJoy right now. 800-451-1359. 800-451-1359. 800-451-1359. That's 800-451-1359.
This is an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and puts the treat into treatment. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
I'm Lori Brooks. There's a town in Japan where the residents have this incredibly high rate of stomach cancer. So they have turned to sniffer dogs for help. Kaneyama is a town in northeastern Japan with only 6,000 residents. Still, it has Japan's highest fatality rates for stomach cancer. So the town is now taking part in a special research program in which residents' frozen urine samples are sent to a medical school near Tokyo. And it's there that these dogs are actually trained to sniff out signs of the disease. And it's really amazing. Dogs, of course, have some 300 million smelling sensors in their nose compared to 5 million in a human. So, and dogs, by the way, also have a second smelling helper in the very back of their noses. And it turns out it's the combination of both that allows dogs to detect these cancerous tumors, because the tumors actually have a really specific odor that these dogs can detect with nearly 100% accuracy. So right now, there are only 5 dogs trained to work as cancer detection dogs in all of Japan. And part of the reason for that is that it costs about $45,000 to train each medically trained sniffer dog. But in the UK, they did a major trial there last year where dogs were taught to sniff out prostate cancer from urine samples. And those dogs had a 93% success rate. Seems like that's a whole lot cheaper than going the X-ray, MRI, doctor route, you know?
Yep.
God, don't we all know the death or loss of a pet can be so traumatic and the grief way beyond what we may have ever expected. But consider this as maybe some of the reasons why. There is a huge lack of formal societal or even religious processes for grieving and mourning the loss of a pet. For example, if the pet is cremated, the ashes are usually collected, picked up at the vet's office or even, sent through the mail. And family and friends usually sometimes don't acknowledge the depth of your grief brought on by the loss of your pet. So if you are grieving a pet, there are some strategies that can help. Experts say it is important to recognize the depth of your feelings of loss, as your pet may have been with you through many of the ups and downs in your life and may have even helped you cope with previous losses of other pets. So give yourself the necessary time and space to grieve. Individual, group, and family psychotherapy, they say, may be helpful as well to you in the process of loss. Identify triggers also for your grieving and ways that you can cope. Think about this. Triggers can include many things. They can be, say, you're shopping for groceries and you happen to pass by the pet food aisle where you picked up his food every week. You could start crying right there. It's things like that. Or even driving by a special dog park that you used to share times. So know your triggers. Try to find ways to meaningfully grieve. And that can include something, like creating a memory book of your pet, building a memorial to your pet, or donating time or money to a pet welfare group in your pet's honor. And, of course, always explore self-help groups at local animal shelters or the ASPCA. Did you know almost all schools of veterinary medicine have telephone support hotlines? And there are also many online community forums and pet loss support groups, too. Now, a much lighter subject here. And very cool. Capturing that perfect pet portrait. I mean, you see them all the time. You flash, see them out of the corner of your eye. Oh, my God, I got to get a picture of this, right? You run over. They get up and walk away. They turn and won't look at you. So whether they're looking away, simply refuse to sit still, pets can still be very impatient models, as I think most of us know, unless food and fun are involved. And that is why Paw Champs has created FlexiPaw. It's something I think is a very clever accessory. It attaches treats and toys to your cell phone to capture your pet's attention and keep it focused on the camera. A FlexiPaw snaps onto the top of your phone or even a tablet and allows you to dangle some animal attention-getting goodie, like a smelly treat or a little toy, anything up to a half-inch thick. It will dangle right above the camera lens. So when your pet focuses on the treat or the toy he wants, that's dangling off your phone or tablet, the pet is almost always going to strike a pose, resulting in a picture-perfect snap. I've got to try this. But right now, FlexiPaw is only available through its Kickstarter campaign for a $16 pledge, but hopefully, they say, it will be on store shelves by the end of the year. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. The veterinarian isn't typically thought of as your pet's favorite place to go. With Fear Free, that all changes. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Mayim Bialik on Animal Radio. Please adopt a pet.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. And I'm sure you already know this. How important is a name for your pet? Our cat's name is Uh-Oh. We named our cat Uh-Oh. Just because
it fits her.
It does. She's always getting it. We're always saying Uh-Oh. And we figured if we got her a little sister, it would be Oh My God would be the name. But apparently the name is very, very important. We welcome to the show the numbers lady, Glynis McCants. Hi, Glynis. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Now, you're a numerologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that have to do with names?
It has everything to do with names. Let me say quickly what is numerology. It's a science of numbers. Pythagoras was the famous mathematician who created this system, and everything has vibration. Names have vibrations, as do your birthday. So there's numerology blueprints, and that's true for your pets as well as human beings.
Wow.
Okay. So is a name for my cat really that important, or my dog really that important? Can't I just name them anything I want?
Absolutely not. You could have a psycho pet on your hands, and I'm sure you know that.
We've had those.
Huge difference. We have a Siberian Husky and 3 cats, and they all get along beautifully, and it's because of the numbers. Well, I named them deliberately to make sure they were compatible.
Well, before we figure out the right way to name them, what could go wrong if we name them the wrong name?
Well, I mean, even Uh-Oh. Are you saying U-H-O-H? Is that how you spell it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then you gave that animal, is it a dog, cat? What is it?
It's a cat.
A female cat.
You made that cat a cat of mystery. You're never going to know what that cat's up to. You made that cat 977. That's like 007. It's a secret agent.
Okay, so when you say 977, I'm not quite sure how the numbers actually correlate with the letters.
Right. Yeah. Each letter, it's the Pythagorean number system. And by the way, in my book, Glynis Has Your Number, we have naming your pet by the numbers. So I really cover this. But you've got the vowels above. So U is 3 in numerology, and O is 6. So that's the soul. number. 3 plus 6 is 9. So that would be a part of this name. And then below, it's consonants. H is 8. H is 8. When I break that down and add it together, it's a 7. So 9 and 7 are the two numbers that I'm talking about. And then when you add them together, it's another 7.
Ooh.
So uh-oh is a mystery animal. Like, they're not going to, I mean, you're going to be intrigued and fascinated because the 7 energy is always very interesting, but you're not going to know what's going on.
Sure.
Like, I literally, like Coco, we have amazing stories over here. I don't know if the gal who produced or sent my stuff to you, but we had the most remarkable thing happen. The name Coco breaks down to the number 9, 369. So it's like a ham bone. Like, this dog is very funny. She is constantly entertaining us. And the 6 energy is about family. She is obsessed with us. If she's not sleeping, she's got one paw on me or one paw on my husband. And that we knew that by the numbers. And we had done it because Shiloh, which was our Siberian Husky before Coco, that name Shiloh breaks down to 369. So we deliberately made sure the energy was the same.
So
like
can I change O's name to improve her disposition?
Absolutely.
I can.
That's my point.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it makes a big difference.
That won't confuse her.
No, because here's how numbers work too. It's just like a person can have a name and then change their name and become famous, right? So that means the name they went by before was not good for them necessarily for their goal. Same thing with an animal. If you got a pet that's nuts and hyper, it's a good chance it's like a 5, which means freedom, fun, adventure, don't control me. If you change the name, you can calm down the pet.
We're with Glynis McCants, and she says what you name your pet is so very important. We're going to find out how you should name your pet coming up next. Stick around.
Hi, this is Ed Begley Jr. on Animal Radio. Live simply so that others may simply live.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, Randy Travis here, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
We're talking about naming animals here. We are with Glynis McCants. She is a numerologist, and she says what you name your pet really can influence their disposition, their whole life, and you better get it right. That's what she's saying. Are there certain names nobody should use? We should just all stay away from.
No, because remember, some people want, like, let's say you want a pet that's very high energy because you're a runner. You just want to make sure it's compatible to you. And speaking of which, I have the blueprints of you, Hal, if you'd like me to tell you a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, Hal, and I say this with love, it's hard for you to shut up. And I did say that with love. And what I mean is you have so many 3s. If you can't speak your mind, you'd burst, Hal. You would be so miserable. If someone tried to control you, it's like, back up. And here's the thing. You have a great sense of humor. You are very playful. You're like a little kid for the rest of your life. You'll never really grow up. You're very in tune. When you're happy, you're a human Christmas tree. Big smile, bright eyes, just so, happy about what's happening. But with your 8 attitude, you can also be very direct. And sometimes you'll say something that people are like, wow, I can't believe you just said that.
Well, speaking of which, Glynis, is that really your name?
Well, yes, you bet it is. I'm from a family of 11. I'm Glynis McCants, named after my father named me from Glynis Johns, the actress.
Oh, okay, so there was another Glynis before you, because I've never heard.
Very famous actress, yeah.
And what does that pan out for you? What does that mean for you?
Well, first of all, my name numbers are 911, so my joke is, who do they call for help?
How should we think about naming our pets and I know you have a book to pitch, but without giving away the book, what are some basics that we should know about naming our pet?
Well, what you need, to keep it simple, you need to know each letter. Like, you really do have to break down those numbers. You have to. Otherwise, it doesn't work. What's beautiful about what I do and what I've done for 27 years, it's accurate and it works. So I've had people come to me and say, one of my examples, she was talking about her pet, and she said to me that the pet was very antisocial, like with the family, except with her. So I helped her change the name where it was more of a social energy, and sure enough, that animal's closer to the daughter and the father too, her husband. So it's letters that have numbers. If you want to keep it simple, A through Z. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. Got it? So you just count through your alphabet.
Okay.
And then each letter, when it comes to just a name, if you want, it's called the power of the name, by the way. That's the most important number. You just would break down the name by adding up each one. So, like, give me another name.
Ladybug.
Nice long one.
And who's Ladybug? Tell me what the animal is.
The studio dog.
Studio female dog.
Oh, it's a studio dog. Okay, hold on. Ladybug. So, example, you've got L is 3, A is 1, D is 4, Y is 7, B is 2, U is 3, and bug, G is 7. So, again, this is just breaking it down to one digit. So then when I go across, the soul is the number 2. Let me check here, 279. How long has that dog been around?
9 years.
Well, that's interesting. The dog's energy actually adds up to 9, but I would say to you, remember I said energy that doesn't want to be abandoned, energy that needs to be connected to the people who matter to them. That's Ladybug. And gentle spirit, because of the 7 and the 2. So I don't know the whole story with you. You guys know more about this pet, but was this a rescued dog, or tell me the story?
It was I got her from a foster family at 8 weeks old.
Okay, so she was a baby.
Yes.
All right, so like I said, the 2-7 is very chill, but the 9 means abandonment issues. So it's about being with you, being connected to family.
Huh. Okay.
That's more like your husband,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, what I don't understand is you have an animal, and if you name it something, does it become that name? Or is the animal, you look at the animal to see what it is, and you name a name that corresponds to it?
No. What happens is when you, just like when you introduce yourself, in numerology, there's a sound to everything. So when I say a name and it resonates, there's energy behind it. So you want that name energy to be compatible. By the way, Ladybug, because it does add up to a 9, is considered compatible to Hal and Judy on paper. See, there are certain numbers that are compatible. 3, 6, 9 is a pack of numbers. Hal is a 3 life path. Judy's a 9 life path. Ladybug is a 9. So that's a connection to the family. But if that pet's name is not even compatible to you, example, the number 8, the first thing I'll ask someone, does that pet cost you a ton of money? Yes. It will eat certain food, it wants its comfortable bed, or forget about it. It's energy.
Okay. If we want to learn more, what's in the book?
Well, Glynis has your number. I call it the buffet of numerology because I have simplified it for you. So as quick as you pick it up, you could go to Naming Your Pet by the Numbers and be able to do so. And then I define the personality of that energy.
And what's the name of it?
Glynis has your number.
Glynis has your number.
Yeah, it's Glynis. But again, at numberslady.com, it's available up there. And for the people who just heard me do a quick example on you by the numbers, they can look up their own information. They can look up their life path number and their attitude number on the website.
Okay, and is there a website?
The attitude.
Yeah, the attitude number. You got to know that. That's pretty damn important. What's the website, Glynis?
It's numberslady.com.
Numberslady.com, and of course, links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet. Glynis, thanks so much for hanging with us today.
Okay, it was great talking to you.
I just did boss, and boss came up as the number 1, which means they want to be in charge. They're headstrong. I was like, wow. I just pulled it up on a website. I was like, oh my gosh.
She said it was, an 8? That was the expensive dog that cost you a fortune? I'm thinking all bulldogs must be an 8.
Yeah.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Your dog loves meat. That's why they'll love the new line of Red Barn dry dog food. The first 5 ingredients in each Red Barn recipe are meat, fish, or poultry. sure to satisfy your dog's carnivore cravings. The added functional ingredients make Red Barn Dry Dog Foods the perfectly balanced meal for your best friend. Available in land, ocean, and sky recipes. Your dog loves meat. We love your dog. Head to redbarn.com to use the promo Animal Radio for 10% off your first bag.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Hi, Daniela. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Cap-Stake.
Where is that?
Cap-Stake. Like Valencia area, you know.
Oh.
Cap-Stake.
In the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on with your animals? I have the whole team here for you.
Well, I was wondering, I have a Shih Tzu. He's going to be 3 years old. He's really, really picky to eat. There's 2 issues with him, but he's really picky to eat. You give him, buy him the all organic food and the powdered food that you put the hot water in and let it cool down. We make him his own dinners, like sweet potato and chicken, chicken breast and everything for him. And you have to sit down and give him little piece of spice with your fingers. Give him taste it. And then he'll probably eat it. Most of the time he'll eat it. Half the time he will not eat. He just won't eat.
Okay.
He will try everything.
And is he skinny, normal weight? Is he a little pudgy?
No, he goes to the vet. He's very well taken care of. He goes to the vet. He weighs 15 pounds, like he's supposed to, because he's a little guy. He's not a real big one. He's a toy. And he's really well, we take care of him really, really, really good. He just doesn't like to eat.
Okay. Well, with a pet that doesn't eat well, especially a small breed dog, there's some of this which, definitely we can have some true medical causes for why a dog doesn't want to eat or is very reluctant to eat. And then there's kind of the human created or the psychological factors that play a role. So my general guideline when I'm counseling a family about a dog that's not eating well, the first thing I look at is their body condition. Are we fat? Are we pudgy? No. And if so, then my conversation first starts with a little bit of tough love. Is that if we have a pet that's on the chubby side and we're concerned that they're not eating enough, then we just need to change what we're doing because we're probably overfeeding them and they're telling us, hey, I just don't need that much. So that's one thing. Small dogs, especially Shih Tzus, there are some health things that I do like to look into because I do find that they can commonly cause them to not eat well. My own Shih Tzu mix was a really difficult eater through his first probably year of his life. And we actually discovered, and this is one thing I'm very passionate about with Shih Tzus, they often have kind of like a crooked bite where their teeth will actually, they have an underbite. So their teeth may strike each other in inappropriate ways, and that causes pain to the inner structure of the tooth. So even if the tooth looks healthy, if the bite is off and those teeth are hitting in an incorrect way, it can cause pain. So for my dog, we ended up having to pull a bunch of teeth. Little did you know, after we removed some of the teeth were crowding his mouth, causing these teeth to hit abnormally, he then started to be an awesome eater. And he's just, to this day, he's a phenomenal eater. But it was a really subtle thing that, I'll be honest, a lot of veterinarians, we don't always recognize this as a potential cause for a dog to not eat well. So that would be something I would really ask your veterinarian to look at and see if we have any interference. And then if so, we do these selective extractions of teeth, just that free up the areas where the teeth will be more healthy. So that's one thing. Other things I look at would be liver problems like a shunt, digestive problems that can cause them to not eat. But, I think that's where, having a good consultation with your veterinarian and just pursuing, is there anything medical that I need to be looking at to address before we tackle, the diet? The next part of the thing that I mentioned is, the psychological side of things. And little dogs are well known for making our lives challenging. And if they can make a process of feeding more emotional for us and where we invest more time and attention, it is something most dogs will enjoy. So if we sit there and hand feed them piece by piece, we're creating a lot of drama around food time. So that's one thing that many people doctor up the food, add in things, and then they hover over their pet and say, oh, aren't you going to eat that? Oh, come on, baby.
Yeah, that's what my husband does. Chocolate.
Yeah. So not saying that's your situation, but, this kind of thing, it actually perpetuates this kind of behavior for a lot of dogs. So I'm a no drama mama. And when I put the food down, if they don't eat, I'm just like, okay, you got 5 minutes, and I start to take it away. And I'll be honest, sometimes it does hurt when they don't want to eat and you think, oh gosh, something's wrong. And then usually it's a matter of just, increasing their activity, and my dogs will get back to eating and doing their normal things if they're off on their food. But I think you really have to look at that. So I'm not going to be one that tells you, oh, add gravy to the food or add this or that. To me, I'd say pursue the medical side of things, and then really look at what you're feeding and what method you are. And it can take a little changes around the household. But if we set up mealtime and not make it some kind of entertainment process for the pet, and actually, make it something where your pet enjoys their food, and, we have a confident situation where they're actually, enjoying their diet, and maybe eating at the same time when the family eats. It helps to kind of give that feeling of we're all a big pack and we're all eating together. If you guys really look at how the whole household is doing the feeding time, that's where we can really start to make some changes to the diet, and trying to stay where most of his food is, at least a balanced diet, because sounds like chicken breast is a great thing, but it's not a great soul diet. I hope that helps some. And if you have follow-up questions, please give me a call. I'll be happy to guide you through that a bit more.
Thanks for your call, Daniela. It's so easy to reach out to us from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and BlackBerry. So download that puppy now if you haven't done it. And let's go to Sherry. Hey, Sherry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Got the whole team for you. What's going on?
Oh, excellent. Well, I've been taking my Yorkie. She's 8 years old. I've been taking her, female. I've been taking her to the vet a couple of times, and they've run some blood tests, and everything comes back perfect. Having a real difficult time getting a urine specimen, but I did manage to get one today. But so far, all the tests have come back that if she's perfectly healthy. But the problem is that she's starting to have really bad body odor. I'm having to bathe her way more frequently, even during the winter time. And she drinks water like there is just no tomorrow, and she really urinates a lot.
And so they haven't actually gotten to look at a urine sample yet. Is that correct?
No. As a matter of fact, I did drop that off today. But as far as the blood tests are concerned, they were worried that she might have Cushing. She is a little panicky. She will, if we run a drill or the air compressor or something at the house, and if she manages to get out, she'll just run as fast as she possibly can with no direction, just out of fear. Can't put her in the car or anything. She has a real panic disorder.
Okay, all righty. And is she on any regular medications?
No.
Okay. And then with her excessive drinking, is she peeing a lot? Is she having accidents in the house?
Well, we have potty pads in the house, so she's not having accidents, but she will soak one of those throughout the night if we don't take her out.
Okay. And then is the urine and the potty pad, do you see, is it like a dark color, or does it look kind of like clear, watery in nature?
Oh, no, it's usually pretty yellow in color.
All right. Well, I think that will be a very interesting thing, is to see her urine sample. And honestly, a caught sample at home is fine as a starting point, but generally when we're researching something like this, the veterinarian is going to need to get a sterile sample. And the reason is that there are contaminants just, when a dog voids, there's bacteria that can actually contaminate that sample just from the vaginal area. So we really want a clean sample so we can rule out the potential for infection that might be occurring, as well as other types of cells that may be contaminated on a freely caught sample, but will be a more easy to interpret on a sterilely caught sample. And that's something, your veterinarian would have to do in the hospital setting. So just keep that in mind, because some of the next steps that I usually have on my workup list after I say, okay, let's do blood work, we do a urine sample, I'm going to want to do a urine culture, and then we may do some kind of ratios on the urine, whether it's creatinine to protein, but there's different things that we'll want to do depending on the situation. So I think that will be important. And, I don't have your pet's blood work in front of me, so I can't say, oh, yeah, that I agree that those kidneys look good. Because sometimes there's hints, that, we might say they're not completely abnormal, but they might be just maybe a hint of something that we want to look at. So I would say that, there may be other steps that we need to do to look into this. And that might include things like taking x-rays or even ultrasounding. So, but a dog is...
anything to do with any of those?
What is what?
Would the body odor have anything to do with it?
You know, it's not anything that specifically is jumping out. I do find sometimes, with Cushing's disease, we can tend to see some other types of skin problems going on as well. Other things like diabetes, we'll often see pets have infection as well. But not anything that's really specific for that. Usually, if a dog that drinks a lot, pees a lot, we think kidneys, we think liver, we think diabetes, we think Cushing's disease. And then there's another disease, it's a diabetes insipidus, which is a little bit different. And then there's kind of less common things like, brain-related diseases, as far as a pet that has a bad digestive problem that drinks kind of psychogenically, so has more of like a excessive drinking because their belly's upset. So those get into some obscure things there. And as far as the skin, stinky skin, for me, my big things are I look for infections. So if there's anything greasy on the skin, then I take a sample of it and look at it under a microscope. And if we see yeast or bacteria,
any sores or anything like that, she just seems to need to be bathed more often.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next step, and then we can kind of go from there and see what needs to be done.
Thanks for your call, Sherry. You can reach out to Dr. Debbie from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and BlackBerry.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
The future looked bleak for Scooter, the abandoned and paralyzed ferret, until he was paired up with Bill Higbee, a sort of ferret fanatic from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Higbee, sometimes called the ferret guy, adopted Scooter and even built him a little ferret wheelchair that allows him to move freely around the house. Higbee takes Scooter to the vet once a week for acupuncture, explaining how they're trying to get his chi flowing. All this love, attention, and chi adjusting is doing the trick. Higbee says Scooter is happy and improving every week. Now, isn't all this extra care a little over the top? Nope. Higbee says it's just what you do for your family. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Start your dog's daily dental routine with Red Barn's new dental treats, Chewables. Thoughtfully designed with ridges and grooves to help control plaque and tartar buildup in between your dog's dental vet visits. Chewables are natural, easily digestible, and your dog will love them. Red Barn Chewables, the tastiest way to brush your dog's teeth. Learn more at redbarn.com today.
Use the promo code Animal Radio and you'll get 10% off your purchase.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. If you're a cat owner, you may have experienced at least once or twice the cat going outside the box, either urinating or pooping outside the box. It can be a very traumatic experience for both you and the cat. And it can be a dome scratcher, trying to figure out why did they do that? They've been using the litter, and all of a sudden they're not using the litter anymore. And, of course, it's something that many landlords have to deal with. When a cat pees on the carpet, it goes into the wood below, and oftentimes landlords have to actually rip out the wood. And that's why us cat owners have a hard time finding a place to rent, unfortunately. So on the scene is Dusty Rainbolt. She's written a book called Cat Scene Investigator, Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. And she'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes. You probably hear about that all the time, Dr. Debbie.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It takes sleuth work because there's so many variables, whether it's psychological, medical, previous experience in the box that was bad. So, yeah. So I'm excited to hear from
Okay,
her.
Dr. Debbie, be honest. I mean, there's some weird places. I've had cats that go to the potty in the bathtub on occasion.
Yep.
So what's the weirdest place that your clients have told you their cat went?
Well, I mean, the weird things are like on the stove, and that people kind of allow that to keep happening. On the stove on the burner, cats have had urinate there. In their in their suitcases.
I got one.
Judy's jumping up and down
I got
now.
one.
This has
I
got
got
to be
one.
good.
Yeah, one of my cats inappropriately eliminated on the kitchen counter.
Oh, my gosh.
On top of a package of hamburger buns. And she squatted and smashed all the hamburger buns and then squatted on the buns and peed.
Oh,
that's interesting. I thought you were going to say like there was a cup up there and that she kind of maneuvered and stood right over it and squatted on top of the cup.
No, she
good.
I had a cat who urinated in a boyfriend's slipper.
Oh. Yeah, you know what the message was there,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. That was intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the aim on that was perfect, too.
Well, sometimes it's not always intentional. Sometimes it is behavior, and then sometimes it can be an illness. And Dusty Rainbolt, she'll be on to help you decipher what's going on in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. What do you got coming up, Lori?
Well, there's, that story about they found, out in the woods, they found a deer nibbling on a human, a dead human.
No, I
So now
missed that
everybody's
story.
talking about, oh my God, what would happen if I died and, it's just me and my pet? Would my pet eat me?
I know.
And
I
do
think
you
about that,
that?
all the time. I think about the cat. I'm a lonely cat guy. I have a lot of cats, and I think that maybe if I expired, would the cats eat me, eat my face? Is what I worry
Well,
about.
I've done a lot of digging on this subject now because everybody's so curious about it. So is it cats or dogs that are more likely to do it? What area of you are they going to eat first, if at all?
Yum.
Yeah, we'll give you the lowdown here.
Oh, you got to stick around for that. And if you're not going to, frankly, there's nothing more that we can say to get you to stick around.
No.
Okay, that's on the way with Lori Brooks, our news director extraordinaire. We're going to hit the phones right now. Is that correct? Okay.
Hi, Mary. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Where are you today?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. Today. Yeah. What's going on with your animals?
In about 3 weeks, we're all going to pack in the car and head to Florida.
Oh, you got to love that.
how fun.
Yeah. But so far, the short car rides, she's been getting sick and throwing up, and I don't know what to do about this because we have a long ride ahead of us.
I assume you're talking about a dog, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My dog, Kelly.
Okay.
I have an 8-month-old Jack Russell Terrier, a little girl.
Okay. And you said she gets sick if she's in the car?
Yeah, she'll get in the car and she'll sit down and she looks very nervous, and then she'll pace around and then she vomits.
Car sickness, there's kind of two totally different syndromes in dogs, and there's sometimes an overlap of them. So there's really dogs that have true motion sickness, which is just, that kind of inner ear disturbance where you feel like you're going to lose your lunch. And then there's the other component, which is really more an anxiety problem. And dogs that have that are the ones that seem to get really anxious. They tremble, they shake, they vocalize, they pace back and forth. So we have to kind of really look at this and kind of figure out, which situation are we dealing with here? Now, from what you're describing, you have a pet that has some anxiety just in the car, and some suggestions. Anytime we have a car travel coming up, I like to condition towards that. Try to kind of train the pet that the car is a good thing and that it's going to reward you in some way. You said you got your trip coming up in a couple of weeks, so we've got a little time to work on this. And basically what I would ask you to do is some homework where we're going to work on getting your dog comfortable with the car. And that may be something where you just start very simply and walk her over to the car, sit her down by it, and give her a treat. And we repeat that as long as she's not displaying anything anxious or nervous. We don't reward that because then we're actually giving a fuel to that fear. So if she looks anxious or nervous, we're just going to look the other way, and we're going to turn her maybe with her leash and give her the command to sit and make sure that's a positive experience. We're going to work up eventually to feeding treats and rewards, really good ones, and putting them in the car. So, you're sitting around the backyard. What are you doing? Hey, let's go to the car with the dog. And we want you to repeat this over and over and over again and make sure that's a good experience. And then we're going to work up gradually to turn in that car key on and keep rewarding her. If she shows anxiety or fear, we're going to take it a step back. And really, for these next couple weeks, you can work on this and really make that car a good spot. Then when we're talking traveling, some simple things that I think a lot of people don't do that we need to do for car travel is pets do best if they're restrained. We want to have her facing forward, preferably in a seatbelt or in a dog carrier. And then try not to feed her right before you do any of these car trip sessions.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
All of us here at Fido Friendly Magazine can't wait to get on the road again with our favorite Fido. We know that it's just not a vacation without our furry companions by our side. Start daydreaming now and visit FidoFriendly.com to scout out places near and far so you will be ready for your next adventure once it's safe to travel. That's FidoFriendly.com. Until then, stay safe and leave no dog behind.
This is an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. Fear Free takes the pet out of petrified and puts the treat into treatment. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
I'm Lori Brooks. Purina has just unveiled its Pets at Work report, their first ever, examining pet owners and their attitudes about having pets in the workplace. Kind of like, they'd be interviewing or surveying us because we would think it's great. Well, here's what they found. 63% of employees in pet-friendly workplaces said they were very satisfied with their work environment, and that's nearly twice as many as those who are in workplaces where pets are not allowed. 65% of employees at pet-friendly workplaces say that it is important to them that a potential employer allow pets. I imagine once you've been in one of those situations to go back to a job where you couldn't have your pet there, that would be difficult. And 19% of cat owners in pet-friendly workplaces, and that was cat owners, bring their cat to work daily. 20% of dog owners take their dog to work every day. And as you might imagine, Purina is pretty vested in pets. So to help other employers who are considering starting their own Pets at Work program, Purina has created a digital toolkit that can help you get this set up in your office. They offer things like checklists and signs and authorization forms that you would need to have, and it's all available for free on their website, just in case you might be interested in turning your workplace into a pet-friendly office. Louie, a 132-year-old, 22-pound lobster, has been returned to the sea. I hear cheers going, yay, Louie. He was for 20 years, he had been living at Peter's Clam Bar in New York. That's right, where you walk in and you see all the lobsters in an aquarium there and you get to pick the one you want. Well, earlier this month, a customer showed up at the bar near Long Island and wanted to order Louie for dinner. That's when the owner decided, it was time for the 132-year-old crustacean to finally get his pardon. The customer had even offered $1,000 for Louie, even though Louie was missing part of a claw. But I'm happy to say the bar owner could not make the deal. He said Louie had been there for 20 years. He was like a pet. He couldn't do it. Instead, Louie was then handed over to a group that took him by boat back out to the Atlantic, to a place called Atlantic Beach Reef, where he was returned to the sea after spending 20 years inside that tank in the bar.
Wow.
Okay, finally. There have just been so many people having these conversations about what would happen to them if they died at home, alone, no other human there, alone with their pet. Would their pet, dog, or cat eat them? This has been a big water cooler conversation. So National Geographic decided they're going to dig through all of these case studies to find an answer, and they reviewed 20 cases of what is really called indoor scavenging. And they also reviewed a study that was done in 2015 that compiled 63 such indoor scavenging reports. So I've mulled it over, culled it down. There is a basic scenario in these cases. Someone with a pet dies alone and unnoticed for a period of time. That's how it happens. And then by the time the body is discovered, there are parts missing, and a pet is just sitting there when the, first responders arrive. And the pet kind of, looks very normal. It's not unusual. They say most of the cases reviewed by the author were about indoor scavenging by dogs. And by a large margin, it was dogs, though there were some cases in which cats were implicated. Cats do have a reputation for eating their dead owners, after all, as the author had heard from EMTs that it's pretty common for them to arrive on the scene and see a cat there. There are even, by the way, a few reports of hamsters and birds chowing down on their deceased owners. But here is some more scoop on will your pet eat you, okay? It depends, first of all, on how much flesh is exposed. If you're really worried about it, wear a turtleneck, gloves, boots, and something over your face, like a ski mask, because typically the face is eaten first, starting with the more detachable parts of your face, like the nose and lips. 73% of the cases, they say, that they looked at reported face bites, and only 15% of those cases involved the abdomen. So obviously, the longer the pet goes without his regular meals, the more it eats of your body, or the body. They tend to go for the neck, the face, and any exposed areas first, and then, if not discovered in time, they may proceed to eat the rest of you. Now you know.
Lovely.
I know you've worried about that, Dr. Debbie, for quite a while.
Yes. No, this is actually a conversation I've had on several occasions. I've always wondered.
It never even occurred to me.
Really?
Ever.
Really?
Before this. Never.
Oh.
I
Never,
never
ever.
thought about it either.
I thought about it. I thought about the cats, being the crazy cat guy that I am, that I die alone, and that the cats would eat me. I never thought about dogs, but...
Wait, there is a little bit more here I can give you. That study they did in 2015, it was a huge study. They found that in 24% of the cases they examined, dogs had begun eating their masters in less than 24 hours.
Really?
So they weren't really starving.
Jeez.
Yeah, and some of them
loyalty.
even chose to do this in spite of having their normal dog food sitting there when the emergency responders arrived.
Oh.
And by the way, researchers also, I wanted to let you know, have found no connection between an animal's reported love or closeness to its owner and its likelihood of consuming the dead owner's body. It turns out that instinct, or bottom line they say, instinct or hunger will trump love.
There you go. I don't think you'll learn that anywhere else.
Now you know. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
The more you know.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update brought to you by Fear Free. The veterinarian isn't typically thought of as your pet's favorite place to go. With Fear Free, that all changes. To learn more and find a certified Fear Free veterinary professional near you, visit fearfreepets.com.
About fear-free people. I don't like the way Ladybug's looking at me now.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Not a week goes by that we don't hear a call about inappropriate urination for cats and dogs, but mostly cats. Always a problem for one reason or another. And, kind of decoding what the problem is, you sort of need like a PowerPoint presentation and several years of college and an astrologist and
hazmat outfit.
And I think that's a great point, Hal, is that a lot of people think, there's going to be just one single answer that's going to fix it. And it's so dependent on the situation. So that's a very good point there.
And that's why I'm so happy to welcome back Dusty Rainbolt to our airwaves. She has a book called Cat Scene Investigator, Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. I got to tell you, it's a book that's a long time coming. Should have been out years ago. But Dusty, thank you for making it come out now.
Well, thank you. I've been in rescue for 35 years, and I have taken in so many cats that were wonderful cats, and the people just got tired of dealing with it. And I thought, I've just got to do this.
So you're saying that a lot of cats were turned back to the shelters because they peed outside the box?
Oh, absolutely. It is the number one, pardon the pun, but it's true, the number one cause, behavioral cause for people surrendering their cats.
Yeah. So if somebody listening right now has this problem where the cat is peeing outside the box, what are some of the basic things we should look for?
Well, okay, let me preface that by saying if your cat is going outside the box, the first thing you need to do is not change the situation, but take Kitty to the vet, because so many times, more often than you would ever believe, it's actually because the cat is sick.
Oh, really? So it may not be a behavior thing. It may be like some kind of infection they have.
Well, yes, and let me tell you, urinary tract infections are so 1990s. The truth is there's brand new research, and the research shows that stress can cause something called interstitial cystitis. It's an inflammation of the bladder. There's blood, there's pain, there's all these things going on, and it's actually an illness. But because it waxes and wanes, it comes and goes. The vets thought for a long time that all you need is antibiotics, and it's not the antibiotics that's curing it. It comes and goes, and the exciting thing is this is treated by environmental enrichment. Play with your cat. Give your cat something to do. Give him food puzzles. And that relieves the stress, and that's how you treat it, with environmental enrichment and pain management.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Okay, yeah, so puppy pads are convenient, but sometimes they're really gross. That's why Ladybug, the Animal Radio studio stunt dog, uses the Brilliant Pad self-cleaning puppy pad. It seals away the waste and replaces the dirty pad for us. Brilliant Pad keeps the Animal Radio studios smelling fresh. In fact, all we have to do is replace the roll once every few weeks. And let me tell you, that's pretty fast and easy to do. I love it, and Ladybug gives it 5 paws up. You can learn more about this amazing machine over at brilliantpad.com.
If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. We are with Dusty Rainbolt, and we are decoding those litter box mysteries. Okay, let's get back to it. What do we do if our cat's peeing outside the box, Dusty?
So anyway, back to my point, take the cat to the vet. After you get a clean bill of health, the 3 or 4 top things would be use an unscented litter, provide a large open box, because cats are often afraid of covered litter boxes. They're afraid they're going to get trapped. Make sure it's a nice, quiet area, and they have multiple escape routes. And if you have a multi-cat household, then make sure there are litter boxes throughout, in different places in the house. So if you have a cat that's guarding resources and preventing other cats from getting to them, they can't guard them all if they're in different places.
Well, now, what's the rule about how many litter boxes to have?
The real rule of thumb is you should have 1 litter box for every cat plus 1. And that means in different places. You can, if you have 3 cats, you can't have 4 all together, because that way the bully can guard all of them at one time.
Okay, I have a mystery for you, and I kind of feel ashamed that... do I have to call in on the regular phone lines to get my problem solved? No, I can just go ahead and ask, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Okay.
It's your show. You can do what you want.
So I have Nike, the studio cat, and he uses the litters, but when he's in the litters... It's like he's marking. His tail is wagging up straight in the air. And
he's not squatting.
He's not squatting. He shoots over the edge of the litter. And let me tell you, the litter's already extended. They're pretty tall. They're over, I'd say, 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah, we've extended them.
It's like he's aiming over. It's like a game for him.
And how old is he?
He is 13.
Okay. Well, remember what I said about take Kitty to the vet?
Ah.
If he is 13 years old, he may have some arthritis issues that don't permit him to squat.
Oh.
In cats, a change of behavior often means there's an issue. If the cat suddenly is not sleeping on the bed or not jumping into the litter box or not squatting, that could be a sign that there is arthritis. And 90% of cats over 10 years old have arthritis. So there was a lady that I spoke to, and she said, "Tell me why my cat is suddenly too good to squat in a litter box." Well, this was a new behavior, and I asked her the same question. The kitty was 12, and I suggested that she take the cat to the vet, possibly because of arthritis. "Oh no, he can jump up on the counter fine. He's just too good to too good to squat." And I'd say she was probably in her 50s, early 60s. And I said, "I tell you what, it takes 1 second to jump on the counter. It takes 30 to 60 seconds to squat, to pee or poop for a cat." So I said, "Why don't you just squat for a minute and see how that feels?" So in cases like that, I would buy a storage container, one of the big 50-gallon storage containers, 45 or whatever. Cut a deep hole in the front, and that way he can step in easily, and he isn't going to spray over the edge.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a problem one time with one of my cats. She wouldn't use the litter box. She would go on the carpet, and I put a pee pad in the litter box, and she loved it.
Oh.
And she started using the litter box with the pee pad.
Which brings me to another thing. Do declawed cats have more problems with litter?
Okay, from the research I've done a little extrapolating, and honestly, I used to be on the fence about declawed cats. I didn't do it, but, I wasn't one way or the other. Now I think that it really does affect them. You can ask almost any rescue group or animal shelter, and they will tell you a large percentage of the cats who come in for inappropriate elimination issues are declawed cats. And what often happens is the vets want to. Well, first of all, it's a very painful procedure, and it's an amputation. It's not a nail trim. Also, research has shown that 75% of human amputees suffer phantom pains. So if you have 10 amputations, then you're bound to be feeling some pain. And what happens is the vet sends the people home with those paper pellet litters so that the toes don't get infected. And can you imagine having 10 toe amputations and then with this new wound walking on gravel?
Yeah. Wouldn't be fun.
So it's the cats become very fearful of the box. That's what I'm extrapolating because and also, it could be painful later on due to the phantom pain.
Sure.
So, yes, I think that there is a relationship between declawed cats and inappropriate elimination.
Sure.
And I think most rescuers would agree with me.
All of these things are covered in cat scene investigator Dusty Rainbolt's book, Solve Your Cat's Litter Box Mystery. I have 10 copies to give away right now. You got to call in and tell me, though, that you're having problems. Okay, I just don't want to give you
I'm
that
having
will.
problems, Sal. I want one.
If you don't get through, you can order it through Amazon. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's available both on Kindle and paperback.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Take care. You. Well, it has just flown by today, and I just figured out that the reason my cat's peeing outside the litter box is I've named her wrong, apparently.
So
and
that's it.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Mystery solved.
Took me 2 hours to figure that out right here on Animal Radio. Hopefully the show was enlightening to you as it was to me. Remember everything that you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet, and we will see you next week right here on Animal Radio.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio
Network.